DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy, family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574 today. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Against the Boards. I'm your host, Chamberlain Bauder, here for another week talking hockey and lacrosse in Western New York and the Finger Lakes. Now, today is going to be the first of our new format of episodes. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks, we'll be able to get back into the studio to do this. But as for right now, this is officially going to be the first episode I will not be talking about the Knighthawks. You'll hear at the end of this episode from Spencer Conley, a student at St. Bonaventure, and also happens to be the coordinator for the Knighthawks Network Instagram. So any of you fans that dial into that quick-hitting fan coverage from the Knighthawks, Spencer has been on that for a while now, and I'm really excited that I could get him into a space where he could talk about the Knighthawks a little bit more and put his voice out there, not just his opinions. So yeah, you're going to hear from him a little bit later on today, but first things first, we got to get into the Rochester Americans, who in the last week, man, have things been very interesting. I completely glossed over the fact in our last episode that Devon Levi got benched on Wednesday last week. First, let's acknowledge that. Crazy miss by me. Really, really intense quote from Leo that kind of went out after that one happened. But it was funny. The things that I said on the show about it, in like retrospect, were kind of a lot of the things that Leo said in that post-game interview, just talking about after the fourth goal, you can't let a fifth one in. And his mindset is if you're going to score 4 goals, you don't lose that hockey game. And they scored 4 goals against the Belleville Senators on Wednesday last week. Now, through this last set of 3 games that they've played until tonight, unfortunately, as I record this on Wednesday night, right after the 2-4 loss to the Lehigh Valley. But to go back, their last 2 games before that, they only allow 3 goals in each of those. Now, Leinonen gets the start on Friday, first game of the 2. Then they give Levi the start against Bridgeport. Both of them only allow 3 goals. They win those games. I mean, Leo hockey is pretty self-explanatory, honestly. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Got to talk about some high performers, though, over those last couple of games. The first one that we have to bring up, in the last 2, didn't find the stat sheet, but man, Trevor Kuntar, what a crazy week he's been having. In his last 7 games is where the stats are really crazy, as my face lights up as I go to check the exact numbers. But no points in the last 2, but the 5 before that, he scored in all of them. Just trying to pull it up right now. We look back to all the way, or rather, in his last 6, he's scored in 4 of those, dating back to playing against Wilkes-Barre Scranton at the beginning of November. 2 goals in that game. Then 2 days later, he had a goal against Hershey. 3 days after that, he had his 2 assists against Belleville. Then over the weekend against Hartford, he had 2 goals and an assist and easily looked like one of the best players on the ice. He and Fiddler Schultz both looked absolutely fantastic in that game against Hartford. Despite that 3 goals in the first, they just showed that they could respond to being blitzed. They outshot Hartford in all of the remaining periods. They took them to overtime, but I mean, it was consistency from the Amerks on that first game of the weekend trip. And ultimately, Trevor Kuntar was at the center of that, culminating and coming to a peak in that game against Hartford. Riley Fiedler Schultz also had an outrageous game. He had that game winner in overtime and 2 assists to go along with it against Hartford. But also just overall this season, he has been, in my mind, despite only having 5 points, a key just energy piece to this group. I feel like when the Amerks start to get into a lull, a guy like Riley Fiddler-Schultz pulls them out of that. And he's been really good at it this year. Obviously, got to talk about Constell Helenius, scored the game winner against Bridgeport, was named the player of the, or number one star, first star of that game. Right now, he's second on the team in points through 17 games, 5 goals, 8 assists for him. Zach Jones, though, the defenseman, in 13 games for the Amerks, has 14 assists, and he notched another one of those, I believe, tonight against Lehigh Valley. If the Twitter clip in my head is, the right Twitter clip right now, assisted on a power play. Constell Helenius, I believe, also had an assist on that one. But nonetheless, Zach Jones's assists are insanely through the roof. He literally has 14 assists. He has more assists than games played as an Amerk right now. Not something that you always see, although it is something that is, I guess, normal for an Amerks defenseman to score points. It's not, we saw Kel Clegg do it last year, right? We've seen a bunch of different guys on the team at different times kind of pop into that spot, but Zach Jones has been the one capitalizing it a lot. Talking a little bit more about someone that isn't showing up on the stat sheet necessarily for their impressive play, but that I personally, as I hit the mic, that I personally have been impressed with from watching them play is Anton Wahlberg. Just the screen assists that he doesn't get credit for at all, but he is absolutely irritating the living hell out of every defender down in front of the goal. And that's exactly what he should be doing at his size and on that line that he's on. When you're on a line with Carson Meyer and Constell Helenius, go muck it up, dude. That's your job. And he's doing, in my mind, a great job of it. The unfortunate thing for him is it doesn't get reflected on the stat line. But still, 9th on the team in points, 4 goals and 4 assists for him so far through 15 games. To me, a real kind of key contributor for this group. And on that top line, of course, is a big factor. Carson Meyer, of course, just came in last week. Wednesday was his first game with the squad, and already in 3 games has 2 goals and an assist. Scored that second one tonight, actually. He's the Wednesday man right now for the Amerks, but always good to see one of the new arrivals immediately clicking with some guys. And of course, for him coming back from that injury, just every goal that he scores is awesome to watch at this point. No doubt about it. Couple of other notes going through Amerk-wise as we kind of look towards this weekend coming up. Of course, right now, with that loss today, they fall to 9-7, I believe. Of course, I say that without having looked at the standings because as I'm recording this, they're actively changing and being updated because of the games coming in. They are 10-7. My bad. Cutting them short. I ended up in my head not counting both of those wins over the weekend. 10-7 now through their first 17 games of the season. They sit 3rd in the North Division right now. And when we take a look at their next slate of games, they will be home on Friday and away on Saturday as they take on the Bridgeport Islanders at home, hoping to do more of the same in that 5-3 win over the weekend. And then they take on the Utica Comets on the road, who, by the way, are in the doghouse of the North Division right now at 2-8. So it's easily, to me, it's a trap game when you look at the statistical categories that had dropped to Belleville down before. They now sit with a well-winning record and just weren't one of the best shooting teams in the AHL when they came to play Rochester. I don't think Rochester ever has a problem getting up for Utica, though. Let's be very clear. That's not usually something that has to get talked about all that often. They're usually pretty good to get up for that kind of a game. But as we said, Friday at home against Bridgeport at 7:05, and then a 6 p.m. start at Utica on Saturday, and then it'll be home on Wednesday again next week as they take on the Cleveland Monsters in the North Division once again, getting back into that divisional slate. And, of course, seems like Devon Levi has found his way back into the goal after everything that happened over the weekend. Had ultimately a better game on over the weekend than he did today. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's Devon Levi. He's going to get the chances, but it's clear now that a part of the development for him is sometimes you have to get pulled, and cannot say that the Sabres organization has a lack of goaltenders to try out in a crease. That would just be a blatant lie at this point based on the way that entire season has gone. But that is going to do it for my portion of today's episode. And now I'm going to, before I pass it over to Spencer, though, actually, as I say that, there will be some just random kind of like PR things, I guess, for Knighthawks that I will address kind of around as the week comes in before I send you to Spencer. So we'll do that now. So this weekend coming up, the last preseason game of the fall against the Ottawa Black Bears. That game is at 7 p.m. at Brampton Memorial Arena. It is a long way away, but it's not closed to the public. And ultimately, this is the last chance for a couple of those rookie guys to get that chance to play and show what they've got, but really also a chance for a guy like Nathan Grennan, who just got signed last week, a guy like Jeremy Thompson to play for the first time. Also, Zed Williams going to theoretically be on the floor for the first time this preseason. It's still one of those things. You've got these stars that don't necessarily need to play in the preseason, but you want to see them play. We saw Ryan Smith and Ryan Lanchbury play all of the games 2 weeks ago, and they will play again because that's the core of the offense, right? But yeah, it'll be theoretically the first time that we see Zeddy coming up this Saturday against the Ottawa Black Bears. I am ready. I'll be there. We'll be filming and covering the game. Keep your eyes tuned to the Twitter. That's not what it's called anymore, but we all know what I'm talking about. Keep your eyes tuned to the Facebook and Instagram as well. We'll be putting out final scores and everything for that as they come. We'll be hitting interviews and different things like that throughout as well. We'll have a post-game interview for you from that. But yeah, for me, I am ready for this season to start. Keep rolling and just kind of get right into the swing of things. I cannot wait to see how this team performs. Of course, roster cut down day is Monday morning. So that is coming right around the corner. Today, 3 changes to the Knighthawks roster. Spencer's going to talk a little bit more about them, but just to put it out there right now, Connor Finger and Seth Martineau both cut from the roster, released today, and Brad McCulley moved to IR with an upper body injury. So those are the 3 kind of changes to that roster right now, and that ultimately puts the team in a spot of having a lower number to cut right now than one would think. The roster's kind of at 27 at the moment. Needs to be down to 21 active roster, including 2 goalies and 4 practice squad guys. So that is what Spencer is going to talk to you about, and without further ado, I will pass it over to him.
Welcome back, everybody. My name is Spencer Conley. This is Against the Boards. Today we're going to go over roster predictions and the 3 transactions the Rochester Knighthawks made today. First order of business, Knighthawks released 2 rookie defensemen, Connor Finger and Seth Marinier. Knighthawks also placed lefty forward Brad McCulley on injured reserve with an upper body injury. Next, we're going to go over my roster predictions, and you'll find them on Knighthawks Network later this week. First, we have number 6, Brad Gillies. Defenseman, he's been here for a while. He's one of the 2 players on this roster that played for the old and new Knighthawks. Next, we have number 7, Ryan Lanchbury, coming off a 100-point-plus season last year. Big-time quarterback on the right side of the offense, going to have another big year. Next we have number 8, Nathan Grennan, who was just signed last weekend. Lefty, gritty player. Is going to be a great enforcer on this team on the left side. And then obviously we have number 10, reigning NLL MVP Connor Fields, Mr. Do-It-All. He will do anything you ask him to do. Put the ball in the back of the net, get gritty loose balls, pass the ball. He is the total package when it comes to an NLL player. Next we have Thomas McConvey, coming into his third year as a Nighthawk, the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 entry draft from Toronto, Ontario. 6'4", 210 pounds, lefty forward, big body, can shoot, pass, does all the gritty work, sets hard picks inside, gets open, does everything you ask him to do. Next we have second-round pick out of the University of Albany, Adam Thistlewaite. He is a defenseman from Albany, as I mentioned. He has been one of the highlights of training camp so far. Next we have number 16, Graydon Hogg. He came onto the scene last season. Lefty, smaller guy, 5'9", 180. He is a pit bull, though. He does everything you ask him to. He's got one heck of a shot and get inside and finish right on the crease. Next we have one of the alternate captains, Ryland Reese, number 2 overall pick in the 2019 NLL draft. He's been here since day 1 of the expansion era Nighthawks, and he is a transition guy, 6'2", 195 pounds. He's been there, done that with this team. He's a captain for a reason. He's a leader in the locker room. Next we have number 26, Josh Medeiros, 6 foot, 195 pounds from Brampton, Ontario. He's a transition piece with this team. He was selected in the dispersal draft by the Nighthawks in the 2024 dispersal draft when Panther City Lacrosse Club folded. Next we have the big deal of the offseason, number 28, Zed Williams, coming over from Colorado, one of the best righty forwards in the National Lacrosse League, coming off an Achilles injury, so we'll see when he plays. Will he be right for week 1? People think so, but we still have to wait and see. Next we have the enforcer, number 29, Tyler Biles, 6'1", 209 pounds from Ontario, just a big guy, and he will drop the gloves whenever you ask him to. Next we have number 32, Taylor Jensen, the RIT product, now coming into his 3rd season as a Nighthawk. Came onto the scene at the end of the 2024 season. He was a mainstay last year, and he's looking to become into a bigger role this year. He's a transition piece as well as a defenseman. He can run up the floor with the ball, and he's one of the faster guys in the NLL. We have the captain, number 37, Dan Coates, 6 foot, 195 pounds from St. Catharines, Ontario. He's a captain for a reason. He's been a leader on this team ever since he arrived in 2021. Then we have number 42, Kyle Waters, 6'4", 236 pounds from Orangeville, Ontario, forward. There on the right side, just a big body. He can battle in front. He's got a really good shot from the outside when you ask him to shoot. And just a big guy, body on the crease that can set hard picks and get guys open. Then we have personal fan favorite, number 43, Ryan Smith, just an overall sniper. Another huge season last year for him. This season, going to have an increased role. I think he can get over the 50-goal hump. And he's been there with this team since he was drafted in 2021 and has been here since then. And has just been absolute dog, goal scorer, does whatever you ask him. And we got number 44, Chad Tutton, 6'2", 220 pounds from Ontario. Defenseman. He had a couple goals last year. We'll see if he can add to that this year. Then we have number 47, Clifford Gaston. He is my last pick to make the roster. It was between Gaston, Mitchell Dunham, and Amos Whitcomb. It was a very tough decision Dan Carey has to make, but Gaston has looked incredible in the preseason. People have been looking at him and saying this guy's going to make the roster. And with the injury to Brad McCulley, it opens up a spot, and I think Gaston's going to take it and run with it. And we have the grandpa of the group, number 54, Ian Lord, 6'3", 220 pounds, shot blocker. He is the second and final player to play on both the Old Nighthawks and New Nighthawks. Had a ton of success with the Old Nighthawks, winning multiple championships, and is looking to bring another championship to the 585 this year. And we have another new guy, number 74, Jeremy Thompson from the Onondaga Nation. This guy is a 3-time NLL champion, all with the Rush organization. He's going to be taking face-offs, and he's going to be a great piece to have on the back end to help on defense. We have number 81, Matt Gilray, 6'3", 206 pounds from Oshawa, Ontario. In my opinion, he was snubbed of Transition Player of the Year finalist at least. I think he could have won the award. He is one of the fastest guys in the NLL. Got a heck of a shot when you ask him to shoot. He can put the ball in any spot in the net, and he is going to be in an increased role this year, again in Rochester. Then we have another local kid, number 88, Jake Pacino, from Liverpool, New York, just outside of Syracuse. He's a 5'9", 180 pounds defenseman. Not the biggest guy, but he is incredible with the stick. Fast guy, not afraid to hit people, and can run in transition, which is what this team needs. Then we have our 2 goaltenders. We'll start with Riley Hutchcraft, 6 foot, 210. He's the backup, and he has kept them in so many games over the last couple of years when Hartley's been unable to play. He's a big reason why they've been in the playoff race the last few years when Hartley has gone down. When you hear about Hartley and the way he talks about him, I remember last year in an interview he said, if you don't like Riley Hutchcraft, then I don't like you, because he's just that kind of teammate and a great player to have on the roster. And finally, number 49, Ralphie Rylan Hartley, 5'11", 165 pounds. Smaller goalie, but makes up for it with his athleticism. Not afraid to run outside the net. Scares fans a lot with that, but, he does what he has to do, and he's a dog. And I think the key this year is keep him healthy. When he is healthy, over the last 2 years, the Knighthawks record is 19-9. They need a healthy 49 if they want to take the next step and win a playoff game. Next, we're going to go over this week coming up in the preseason. Knighthawks will be taking on the Ottawa Black Bears at 7 p.m. at the Brampton Memorial Arena in Brampton, Ontario. This is final tune-up for the season. Obviously, we've been talking about the first 2 weeks of the season being bye weeks for the K-Hawks. As a fan, I hate it, but the players say they don't mind having the first 2 weeks off, and they just want to get going, but at the same time, they need to be ready for San Diego in week 3. We're going to go over the Jeremy Thompson signing from last night. He is a 3-time NLL champion, all with the Rush organization, in 2015 with Edmonton when they were still there, in 2016 in Saskatchewan, and in 2018 when he was also in Saskatchewan, which we do not need to talk about. That's when the Rush beat the Knighthawks 2-1. In his career, he has won 2,559 face-offs. He's been there, done that. He is 51.4% from the dot. He eclipses the 50% rate when you're talking about all-time great face-off men. It's a big weekend for the Knighthawks. Obviously, they play Ottawa. Last season, they had success against Ottawa, winning both games, both by pretty big margins, and it's a big day for the Knighthawks as it's their final test, and they gotta get ready. The Knighthawks will again open up the season against San Diego in week 3 against the Seals, and then they will kickstart their home schedule against Philadelphia on December 20th. That's going to be a big day. First home game under Seneca Nation, and it's going to be, hopefully, a big win for the K-Hawks. Thank you for listening. My name is Spencer Conley, and this has been Against the Boards.